Hey everyone, CJF Hotshot here. Welcome to part 2 of the Flash Artist Tier List. Last time we left off, we finished with Paul Pelletier and Ron Lim. Today we are starting with Angel Unzueta, who started on the Jeff Johns run of the Flash. Angel Unzueta is very firmly in good tier. Ignore the fact that I didn't put them on the graph the first time because when I was haphazardly making the tier list, admittedly. But going through them all, Angel Unzueta is definitely good. It's a bit exaggerated, it's a bit tall. However, if Unzueta was given the chance to fully develop their style in the Flash book, they would look like a lot more fitted to the style than just a leftover artist from Young Justice. Second artist today is Scott Kolins. Scott Kolins is spectacular. I'd say he would be in top notch if he only did his work with Johns. However, because he was the secret sauce to Johns' run, right? He knew exactly what to do. He created all of the visual iconography that was necessary in order for that run to thrive properly. However, when he joined back into the book in 2017 with Williamson's Flash run, it lost all of its identity and edge. And I think either the scheduling due to Rebirth having double shipping, or the colorist just not vibing as well with Kolins, does kind of put it down a bit. So Kolins is in spectacular still, would be top notch, but isn't spectacular now. Next we have Alberto Doze. Alberto Doze is what we call shit. I don't like Alberto Doze's art. I hate Flash Ignition, and one of the worst points of it is the artwork. If Alberto Doze was a Batman artist, right, it would look quite good. It would very much fit into the Detective Comics Black Mirror stuff. However, since they were on the Flash, it looks dreadful. Honestly, it looks stilted and slow and melodramatic. It's as if they just wanted to do a Batman book, which is just obscene. Next, we're going right back up to spectacular with Howard Porter. Howard Porter kind of had the opposite effect of Scott Kolins. It was quite solid in the John stuff. It was quite good with the when he worked with Jeff Johns. However, he really shines in the later part of his work with Joshua Williamson on Flash War, Flash Running Scared, Flash Year 1, Flash Finish Line, and the Flash Age, where you just see, admittedly, some stilted 9-panel sequences from Watchmen, but also some incredibly detailed splash pages and face designs from Howard Porter, and how fluid the speed lines can truly go. So that does have him end up in spectacular. Next we have Ken Lashley, who did the Flash Fastest Man Alive. Well, he's the first artist to do that book. It was quite good, I think. I'm personally not. Is that you didn't do enough. He was a big name because he was very famous for X-Men at the time, but because A, he's quite a slow artist, and B, he just didn't quite get the Flash's visual design as quick as other artists, he ended up not being on the book for very long. So even though he was a promoted artist, he wasn't on the book very much. But for what he did do, it was quite good. It just didn't save the Flash Fastest Man Alive run. Nor did the art of Ron Adrian or Toniers Daniel, who I put Adrian in lacking and Daniel in good. Ron Adrian did the back half of the run, and Toniers Daniel did the big last issue, which I think is recognition worthy. It just ended up feeling quite motionless, as if every page by Ron Adrian looks a little too rough around the edges. And with Toniers Daniel, whilst it was an epic looking final issue, it was only one issue. And whilst I give it credit for being a final issue, I do not give it credit for being anything other than that. Next we have Daniela Cunya, who did 2 whole issues of The Flash, but because they're on the book as a promoted artist, I'm including them, and I'd put them in good. The problem is the hyper-realistic faces that Alex Ross is very famous for. I am not a fan of hyper-realistic faces. I think they look creepy. Daniela Cunya makes them work, I think, because there's enough fluidity on the page. However, it still creeps me out a little when reading Flash Wild West, so that's like a notch down. Next, we have Karl Kirsch. Karl Kirsch did an issue in Flash, Fastest Man Alive, and the All Flash issue. And for someone who's only done 2 issues of The Flash and some variant covers here, there, and everywhere, I've put him in top notch because it looks very manga inspired. And if you put him on the book for longer, I can guarantee that people would love Karl Kirsch on The Flash and would want more. And the art that he did do in All Flash left an impression as Wally took away Inertia's speed. So, there you go. Watch you have it. Karl Kirsch, very good artist, and also did good on his work in Flash Fastest Man Alive when Ken Lashley was being dreadfully late. Next we have Freddie Williams II. Very similarly to Howard Porter, your opinion on Williams rises as you read more of the issues during this run. I personally think that by the time you get to his last issue, you want to see more with Freddie Williams II. So even though his Wild West stuff is a little lacking, once he finally found his rhythm, I didn't want him to go. So he's in Spectacular. He's actually made probably my favorite Flash cover, which is Flash Time Bomb, for 243, I believe. And yeah, it's magnificent, and the posing is stellar, and it's just all one amazing, like, encapsulation of who the Flash is. Going straight on, like, another contrast, we get Ethan Van Sciver. I've put him in terrible. I do not like Ethan Van Sciver as a person, nor as an artist. I think the faces look a little creepy. I don't like how he draws some characters. I think Bart having a baby face is a bit and I think Wally and Barry looking that old is just, it's creepy. It's like, he has the same problem as Alex Ross. The faces just creeps me out at night. And given that I'm extremely biased and I don't like EVS in general, he is, objectively to me, the worst. Next, we've got Francis Manapul, a major contrast, because Francis Manapul is the greatest Flash artist of all time. Manapul started in the second Jeff Johns era of the Flash, and carried on and actually started writing and doing the art in the New 52. And Manapul's work is probably the definition of top-notch art. Like, I can't think of many artists that have done better. Not many people have done better than Manapul given the circumstances. And I think that translates so well into not only his Flash work, but his work beyond the Flash, his Detective Comics work, his Trinity work, etc. Even like his stuff during Death Metal, it was just amazing. So every time I see Francis Manapul on a Flash issue like Flash 750, or even a cover of, say, Flashpoint Beyond, I'm just like, I wish we had Manapul back. Yeah. Next we have Marcus Toe. Marcus Toe is an okay artist, I think. He did, when Manapul was very busy during the Flash gig with Bucciolato, Marcus Toe kind of kept the pressure up. And because Manapul and Bucciolato were like being artistic helping hands, it did end up looking quite good. But I don't think Marcus Toe's work is especially good for the Flash, so I'd personally put him in good tier. Next, we got Patrick Zurcher. I put Patrick Zurcher in lacking. I'm not a big fan of Patrick Zurcher's Flash art. It's all very still and stilted, and as if you don't see the Flash is like moving throughout the page. You see someone standing in place, and you see this a lot with the Flash CW show lately, where there's no momentum in how the speedsters are running. They just have a light jog because the CGI budget is quite low. And I feel like you get a similar impression with Patrick Zurcher's Flash art, in my opinion. Next, we got Brett Booth, and Brett Booth is the exact opposite. If Francis Manapul has the gold medal, Brett Booth has the silver, because Brett Booth's flash art, even though he was doing the art in the probably one of the worst flash runs in history, being The Flash by Venditti and Jensen. I like Venditti as a writer, but oh god, his flash run wasn't that good. It wasn't that good at all. Brett Booth's art still pulled it out of the bag, so it was at least pretty to look at. And honestly, the New 52 suit does fit with the two big New 52 artists, Manapul and Booth. And when Booth got the Titans gig for Wally West and of course the Flash Forward gig, you see him actually drawing for better stories, which is a godsend, because I like Flash Forward and I like the first half of Titans 2016. By the first half, I mean the first two trades. So yeah, I like Brett Booth's art. I think the posing is spectacular. I think there's enough momentum running through the page. And I do think the page layout is actually quite solid. At least in the Flash and Titans work. I'm not sure about his earlier Teen Titans work. So we've actually filled out all the top-notch fellas. So the rest of them are at Matt. And we've actually filled out terrible. So everyone else is somewhere in the middle. So let's just finish the list real quick. I say real quick, there's still a lot to go. Jesus Marina. I don't know how to say their name. I don't know. I'm going to say Jesus Marina. Jesus, was the artist of the last arc of New 52 Flash and an arc during DC Rebirth with Barry and Ace. I think it was alright, all things considering. It's just it looks a little rough again. It's not worthy of fanfare, in my opinion. I just think it's very stereotypical modern comic art. Same actually goes through the net for another artist later who's also in lacking, but we'll get to them in a bit. In the meantime, let's go to the probably headline artist of DC Rebirth's The Flash, Carmine DiGiandomenico, Domenico, and I've put him in good. You've seen the CW Flash show and how lightning seems to be the only way they can convey super speed now, whereas in the first season they were a bit more experimental, whereas now it's just orange lightning flowing across the screen, even though they swear it's yellow, but it's actually orange. I kind of get a similar vibe from Carmine DiGiandomenico, Domenico, where there isn't a substance in the speed lines. It looks very CW to me. And I'm not sure how I feel about that. I think the posing's really good. I think the character designs and models are really good, but I don't think how he draws super speed is too good. So it ends up in good. Not bad, but not top notch. Just good. Very good, but just good. Next we have Neil Googe. Neil Googe is, imagine your average Marvel book that's not Spider-Man or X-Men. That is the type of art that Neil Googe kind of goes for, It's there's a lot of quote unquote animated expressions on the faces where they just look a little stilted. And I know I've been saying stilted a lot, but this is just my opinion. It all just looks a little off, as if the characters aren't actually feeling those emotions, which is a bit saddening, but what you gonna do? What you gonna do? Next we have Christian Deuce. Christian Deuce was introduced to the Flash book through the Flash 2017 annual and continued on the book till the end of Williams's run, and even did an issue of the book last year in Jeremy Adams's run. I think his art is good. There isn't really anything noteworthy to me about his art, though. I just think it looks quite good. This is I need words. I need better words in my life. I'm so sorry, audience. Christian Deuce's art is quite good. But I just think every page could look a little better. And some of the pages he actually does are quite horror-esque, which I don't think fits the Flash quite well. But I think this is just because of what Williamson was trying to envision for the arc at the time with the other forces. So, and you also see this with the next artist, Rafa Sandoval, whose art overall is quite solid. However, I'm deducting points for his various mistakes drawing the Flash in Titans Academy, and and I don't think he has an excuse because he was a Flash artist. So you'd think the guy who drew the Flash book should be able to distinguish which Flash is on the page and which Flash they should be drawing, and he just didn't. He thought he was drawing Barry when he was drawing Wally, when he was drawing a Titans book, so he should know he's drawing Wally and not Barry. So yeah, it's poor colorist though. But I do like Rafa Sandoval otherwise. I especially like his Green Lantern work, but his Flash work is still quite good. I just think that Barry's a little top heavy in Rafa Sandoval's artwork, which is a weird thing to say, but like you'd expect this stature from Superman, but not necessarily Barry Allen. So yeah. So we moved on from the DC Rebirth era artists into the current-ish era, starting with Clayton Henry, who did the Flash DC First series with Gail Simone, and 2 issues of the book with Kevin Shinnick and Ron Mars. And he is in lacking. I am not a big fan of Clayton Henry's artwork. I don't like how he draws Barry's head. It looks a little too small for it to be the Flash, which is, I know, a strange complaint. And I also just don't like how he draws the New 52 suit. I think the New 52 suit in general is a bit lacking, and I think that they should have gotten rid of it by now, especially now that we've passed both New 52 and DC Rebirth. So, yeah. Next, we move into the current era of artists, starting with Brandon Peterson, who is the main artist for the Flash Blink of an Eye arc. He suffers from the Steve Lytle effect. If you've ever seen Steve Lytle's Flash covers, you know that those covers are amazing. They're spectacular. They're glorious. You think of like Grant Morrison's Flash run and the later half of Mark Waid's Flash run. All of those covers are from Steve Lytle and they really sell the book. But as soon as Steve Lytle actually got a chance to like draw the book himself, it all went down the drain in that one issue, which is why he's not on the list, by the way, because he only did 1 issue. It's a similar thing with Brandon Peterson. His covers are amazing. Like everything from the Eclipse covers, the 2021 annual cover, the cover to the first part of The Search for Barry Allen are all really good. But his interior leaves a lot to be desired, because you can't quite get the page layouts right. So whilst I think he did draw a good fight sequence at the end of the story, it all ended up suffering throughout the rest of his art through that arc. So yeah, I'm putting him in good. Because at the end of the day, he sold that last fight sequence quite well. So, yeah. Next, we have Will Conrad. And Will Conrad is probably one of my favorite, like, artists that have, like, transcended books. And I think with the right colorist, he's really good. I've put him in Spectacular because I really like Flash 772 and Flash 773, which were his big 2 issues. I know he did a bit before that, but, like, those are the ones I'm counting. I like those 2 issues. And I like how Will Conrad drew them. It looks very Paul Ryan, but if Paul Ryan was placed into 2022 along with all of the current contemporaries. So yeah, that's kind of what sets apart Will Conrad for me. Next we have Fernando Pasman. Fernando Pasman is probably considered the main artist of the Flash book right now. I think it's really good. If Will Conrad's in Spectacular, Fernando Pasman's like quite close to the top of good. It's just, whilst he nails facial expressions quite well, he doesn't draw too many good action sequences. It's actually the opposite of Brandon Peterson, which is why they're both in good, because they can do one thing, but not quite the other. But I'm still entertained by Jeremy Adams' Flash run, no matter who's been on art so far. So that is probably like a testament, an amazing sign for Jeremy Adams as a writer, that I've enjoyed his run, even with the choice and staffing of artists. And finally, we have at the top of Spectacular the current artist of the Flash in the Dark Crisis tie-ins. For the Search of Barry Allen, we've got a Manichae Now pen. This guy, in 2 issues, right, has drawn a perfect replica of the Bronze Age. Amazing shading throughout modern age, like the modern age speedsters, for Wally and Jesse and Max and everyone. Like, this cowl scene, for instance, is just glorious because it's just like filled with determination. This is just 1 page. He's done a Wild West centric theme with like very Mad Max Fury Road. And then you've also planted him in Gotham City to do the typical DC Batman work. Like, this guy can do everything. And for that alone, I've got to put him in Spectacular. So yeah. Sorry this video ended up taking quite a while. It's just how it ended up, unfortunately. If I've missed out any artists that you think I should rank, leave them in the comments below and I'll rank them there. This is all from me for now, so until next time, see you later.